No, I wanted you to hit it 4 times then. I wanted boom, 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 boom. I was like, maybe if I just like say it in my head, he'll do it. No.
Are we that good yet?
Or close. We're almost there. What up, Challenge fans? We are Final Alliance Podcast. We just finished watching episode 4.
Mm-hmm.
She's back.
Mm-hmm. She sure is.
Challenge All-Stars, Season 3.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
She's back.
Hey, you know, you're going to have episodes of this.
I was hoping that this would be like a banger episode, like, because we're like almost at halfway. And it just, It wasn't terrible. I'm not saying it was terrible, but I had high hopes. Some of that having to do with who would potentially be in.
Yeah. I will say this. There's 2 things I definitely want to talk about. We can talk about length. There's 2 quotes that I really like. Originally, when I walked in, when we were doing this podcast, there was one quote, but then I saw in your notes, I'm like, absolutely, I love that quote. And I'd like to talk more about that. But again, maybe I'll wait to unpack when we've unpacked this episode to talk more about for the people out there watching. Like, understand the show, watch how the show works, and you can speed it up in your head if you feel like you don't have enough time. And this is another one of those episodes. Like, hey, I'm going to point out to you, they're going to guide you through this episode real fast if you need to. But yeah, it's. Start it off. Where do you want to go with this? I mean, you lead the way, and I'll give you all kinds of comments because I have them.
The episode started off awesome. It was a day off. They're playing flippy cup, beer pong. They're in the pool. They're grilling. It just looks like fun. We get hit with Ja Rule and J-Lo. What's my name? Yeah. R-U-L-E. And then I got super excited.
I thought about that immediately of you because I'm like, wait, was there a song before this? Do I need to rewind it? I'm like, I'm not rewinding this. But yes, I did like I'm Real with J-Lo and Ja Rule and everything else. Yeah, cool. I'm not a real big flippy cup beer pong guy, so to me, I'm
never?
Like, no. But, you know, like Derek said, hey, you know, we're going to have to get down to the nitty-gritty here soon, so, yeah.
There's talk. So while MJ is getting a massage, Brad's on some big flamingo floaty.
Mm-hmm.
And
looked fantastic. Looked like the most fun in the world. But yeah.
Darrell jumps in with like 6 noodles.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, oh, it looks like so much fun. He says he's a little bit annoyed with MJ.
Yeah. And I think vice versa.
Correct. So we know that's going to be something. And as this like interview is going, we're seeing like MJ getting massage, like just chilling.
Mm-hmm.
like interesting.
Yeah, he's got like little.
Like
it's not just
kind of like cups.
He's not doing
like
the
cupping,
cups like they do for
something
swimming. But yeah, he's got different areas. I don't know. Hey, all right, whatever, MJ. Yeah, sure.
Darrell's like, I'm not. You know, I'm good here. Not trying to piss anybody off.
I love that about him when he's just like, I don't need to be in the authority. I've got a lot of friends. I'm gonna figure this out. I really like that, and you know, we're both fans of Darrell.
Huge Darrell fan.
We also, outside of just being fans of him in particular, we understand his game. And when he says it, we're like, good call. You're right on, Darrell. You know,
Yeah,
I don't mean to speak for you, but
No.
I just think I think at the time we're like, yeah, Darrell, right on. You do have friends here. You don't want to piss anyone off. Good idea.
Absolutely. Yeah. Nia and Jordan were talking about the flirtation between the two of them. So they aren't actually like a couple, but they're flirting, they're friends, and maybe, you know, in this episode they become more of a couple.
Okay, now can we talk about one thing that I really want to talk about what we get to see? Okay. So Jordan's like, hey, there's sexual tension, and maybe we've crossed the boundaries. And they're in the bed, and they're laughing. And then they go back, and he's like, they say it's Anaya says, I don't know who says whatever else. And then they go back. Never. And I'm looking at the hard camera. Never in the history of the challenge of the real world. We have seen things underneath the covers. We have seen some moving around, hands maybe. We have never seen gyration the way that they did. gyration, the way that did it on that camera, where I had to rewind it. I'm like, oh, they are humping. Not dry humping, not like hand thing or whatever else. Sarah, why are you laughing or whatever else?
I feel like we've seen maybe, or like
that.
people put like the blanket over their.
They did not. They did not. They're under blankets.
But I mean, in other seasons, like I think Mandy and Wes were hooking up, and they put the blanket to kind of cover their bunk.
Rewind it. It is full on
getting busy.
Yes, honestly, I'm.
Look for them.
If there's anyone out there. I just never. If there's anyone out there that's like, oh no, we said in this episode of Real World at Chicago, or whatever else, that's fine. I doubt it. Like I was just like, I can't believe.
I can't think of anything off the top of my head
like that. And Paramount Plus, you can say the F word, you can do whatever else. That's fine. I was just like, I had to rewind. I've never seen anything like it for a Real World challenge.
It's got to be because it's on streaming. It's got to be because it's on streaming, and there are different policies as far as like ratings, right?
Fair enough.
Because like, what's that? Too hot
sexual tension. Maybe we went overstepped. I'm like, you clearly this was not like, yeah. And they were getting after it. I was shocked. I really was. I'm like, okay, yeah. You guys are gonna try to be like, maybe we have, maybe we haven't. Like, no, they just full on just threw it out there. How did you not see this like that?
I don't know. I don't know. And I watched it twice today.
Man. All right. Whatever.
I was too busy writing down what the songs were. I mean, I don't know. Good for them. Hey.
Yeah, good for them. Yeah, right on. Yeah. Just don't be like, oh, maybe we're crossing the line.
Well, clearly that interview had to have happened probably after.
Yeah, I don't care. Yeah.
And it's like, okay, tell us like
more
before,
foreshadowing stuff,
after.
and we can do more Jordan foreshadowing. Good job, producers. Yeah.
I did find something out via Jemmy on Twitter from last week in regards to like how the interview process works. Mm-hmm. She had tweeted, she's like, hey guys, sorry my interviews were kind of like lame this year. She's like, I had to do all of them until like 2 a.m. the night I left, and I had to like catch a 6 a.m. flight. Mm-hmm. And then someone had commented, they're like, so you shoot them all like in like one day? And she's like, well, there's some people that, you know, you got to interview everybody, and it takes mm-hmm. a long time. And some people prefer to do them as quick as possible because they can't remember things as much. She's like, I can remember things, so usually I'm like one of the last people to be interviewed. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Maybe Jordan was one of the. I don't know.
Either way,
because at that point you've got to talk about things. If you're one of the last people that are interviewed, you got to talk about things that haven't happened yet, like anticipatory. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of like the arena. You have to be like, I'm going to go out there and win after in post, like whatever else. I get all that. I just think it's also great that Jamie said like, sorry, my interviews were lame for like once. So
I thought her interviews were good too. I was like, oh, they were lame.
I'm sure she's got plenty of other lame ones before that. She's don't roll your eyes.
I mean, the woman went home because of a family thing.
I understand that, yes, but I'm just saying she's never been like the one where I'm like, oh, we need more of her on the show. So.
She gives some good ones though.
Mm-hmm. She does. She gets drama going.
Kayla and Sylvia talking. Hey, who do you want to sabotage? How about Kellyanne? We got Kendall and Kellyanne talking. Kellyanne's kind of reassuring Kendall a little bit about what happened with the sabotage, and
she's telling her you went rogue. Well, Kendall says I went rogue, but Kellyanne's the one being like, that was kind of out of left field. Like we didn't need that to happen for our team. And when you're saying that, when Sylvia and Kyler are talking, and she does say she's like, if they were smart, those three would team up against us.
Right.
She's like, and Sylvia's like, don't put that out there, Kay. Like, what are you doing? And I was like, yeah, good call. Like, don't put that out there, Kay. Because there's just
I like that she called her Kay too. That was cute. I caught that too.
And I don't know like what's going on, why the Janae thing is not there, but the Kellyanne and Kendall thing it's not a mix right now. And I obviously take that back. We do know why. Kendall put the sabotage in MJ, and Janae's probably apprehensive about working with her. Yeah.
Goes to the challenge. Wes's hello to TJ was fantastic. Did you catch
Mhm.
that? It's like, hey, you sick F.
Yeah.
TJ in a nice linen shirt.
Yeah.
Looking good as
Oh,
always.
TJ was great during this challenge.
TJ
but yeah,
was
yeah.
great.
But I think Wes is taking a little bit out of the playbook of Johnny Bananas, the way that Johnny does. And if you listen to his podcast, the way he interacts with TJ, they have that weird thing. So yeah.
For sure.
But yeah, I liked it. I did like what Wes was doing. Yeah.
TJ informs us that the replacement is coming.
Yep.
They come in on a, I don't know, what even kind of vehicle is that?
Dune buggy.
Dune buggy?
Yeah.
Johnny's like, I don't see very well. I see blonde hair. And all of a sudden, I'm literally watching and I'm going, no. Like, I don't want to be right. I don't want to be right in this case.
Mm-hmm.
I was right. It was Beth. She does the laugh.
Yeah. Did she do the laugh or did they just bring that in from another audio or whatever?
Could have been.
Yeah.
Could have been. I'm not a huge fan. I'm just not a huge fan of hers. But in watching this twice, and granted, there's something that we're so going to hit on later.
Mm-hmm.
The show needs a villain.
Okay.
Wes is trying to be the villain and it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So the show needs a villain. I don't know. Maybe she's going to give us that. And she said tenderoni. I get like chills up my spine, like bad chills every time she says tenderoni. I do not like it.
I agree with that. And don't get me wrong, I really like Bobby Brown as a solo artist. And that's off of his album, Bobby Brown from 1987.
Oh, no kidding. I thought you just made up the word.
No, tenderoni. It's a song.
Okay.
Yeah. So I really do like Bobby Brown's solo artist when he left from New Edition. But for some reason, in not any way, like, it just seems derogatory. Like, I don't know why, and I don't know where I get it. And I'm not out there on like a cancel culture type of thing or anything like that. But I'm just like, don't talk to Nehemiah that way. Like, there's just something about it, and it doesn't rub me the right way either.
It's just, I don't know.
And then do I have to sit there and say everything she does, I don't like her? Like, when she came in, I'm like, what is she gonna do to this game? She's not shaking up this game. And it's just kind of like, and they go through it, whatever else. And I'm like, it's Beth. And you know, the only thing you think about, it's, where's she from? Is she from, there's something, it's not San Francisco. She's from LA, right? So it goes New York, LA, San Francisco. And the only thing I remember is like 7 strangers picked a little off, and someone says to her when she's on LA,
oh yeah,
nothing wrong with being a lesbian, Beth. That's all I think about. That's all I think about every time. Like, she has these things in her head, like what she believes is right, and she's just gonna like put it on you or whatever else. And I that's all I can think of. And I'm sorry if I can't shake it in 29 years, but it is what it is. So
I kind of gave her a fresh start with All Stars 1, but she didn't really do anything for me then. And with what I saw in that preview, I was trying to like maybe give her another chance, and I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen for me. But who knows? Stranger things have happened.
We'll talk about her more later, but and more during the challenge too.
So the challenge is called High Stakes. This is freaking cool. This is amazing. So they're on the top of looks like an apartment building, because you can see like the balconies with like chairs and stuff. 150 feet in the air. They're on planks. You walk out. I don't know if they said the distance that you walk out, but I don't know, say 10 feet. We'll just eyeball that.
Yeah.
You have to do simple math, and there are little boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 boxes.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
because you do.
No, you're right.
There's a number, and then you can do. It's either addition, subtraction, or multiply. I did not see divide as an option. Yeah. And then another number, and then equals, and then the answer. So you just kind of cubes. Just move it until your problem is correct. Yeah. They have to get in teams of 3.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I thought was brilliant, and I don't typically think of her as a very good strategic player, but Kayla
nailed it.
Freaking brilliant. She's like, I've done this long enough. I know that I can't have all my friends on my team, because if there's a chance we go into an elimination or something like that, I don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
She seems to be the only person that understood that.
Exactly.
That
Then there's
understood the
Beardo
assignment.
Brad, who wants to get with Wes, who was in his wedding, and then Nehemiah, who officiated Wes's wedding, and they have to be the three of them together. And yeah, she gets it, and Beardo and his crew doesn't get it.
Call him Beardo.
I love it. It's good. Beardo's good.
Brado.
Okay.
Oh, if the Wes and Yes, it didn't come up in this episode, but if it comes up again, I have a new idea for their name. Because remember I said
Oh,
Yeston?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just wait. Okay. Yes's last name is Duffy.
Okay.
Wes's last name is Bergman. Duffman.
Bergman,
Like the Simpsons.
I
Duff
got
man.
it. I got it. Yeah.
I don't know.
Like it, yeah.
I don't know. Just trying to play it
Can
out.
you also explain to me how Yes just disappeared the rest of this episode afterwards?
Right.
Like,
he was really cute.
Seriously disappeared.
Well, there were a couple scenes we saw him. His interview, he did have the Indiana Jones outfit again.
Okay. But I mean, he's pretty much
He's talking to Naya at one point, but he's kind of in the background in the party scene. Yeah. Wes, we didn't really have a lot of Wes either. It was just kind of a strange episode.
Yeah. And
as far as like the people we're used to seeing a lot of.
Maybe that's why we don't give it 2 thumbs up for an episode. But
Could be.
Yeah.
So the teams are Nehemiah, Brad, and Wes, Kellyanne, Kayla, Sylvia, Derek, Mark, and Yes, Darrell, MJ, Jordan, John A, Ronnie, Beth, Kendall, Naya, Veronica.
Sure.
If you win your heat, you're in the authority.
Yep.
And then it has to, and if you're the fastest person to get your math problem, you are the winner. Mm-hmm. You get to sabotage someone next time. And if you are essentially sabotaged by the winner, or they pick you to go first and you have the least amount of time that you were up there, then you are the loser, essentially.
So what happens is Brad was the previous winner. He sabotaged MJ.
Correct. It's a 1 minute penalty.
Yeah. And Kayla sabotaged Kendall.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which I seem to work for Kendall for sure. Well,
Brad and MJ, like you already said at the beginning of this pod, that, Brad's not really, he's like, I have friends. We're not working together here. It's not making sense. And MJ's like, I expected to give it to me. And from here on out, I'm going to give it to Brad. Like they're just not working together. It's oil. And that makes it nice and
easy too. Like, I'm just always going to give it to you. You're always going to give it to me.
Yeah. And it's fine.
Simple.
Win and survive. That's that's a good type of rivalry type of thing. And
yes.
Not in a way like, oh, you're backstabbing. It's like, I knew it was coming and nothing I can do about it. So,
right.
Yeah.
And they're both like good, nice dudes. So it's not like super angry or whatever. So the big things to talk about with this, Sylvia gets a little nervous, ends up going through with it.
Mm-hmm.
My man Darrell. I did not expect this from him. They talk a lot. He always talks about how he doesn't like heights, but he is such a strong, just a tough guy that he usually just goes ahead and does it. Hates the whole time, but does it. But something didn't feel right this time, and he didn't do it.
And they had Mark and MJ earlier talk about the night before, and he's like, you guys are going to ruin my sleep, whatever. But listen, you wrote it down, and we said it before the pod. Darrell's a competitor.
Yes.
But he said something that I was like, absolutely like, I got this guy's back. I'm again.
And TJ was like, come on.
Hear me out. We talk about this a lot, almost every episode, but I think this is a challenge you would like to do.
Yes.
I
think it would terrify me, but I would do it.
I don't
Absolutely.
think it would terrify me. But and I feel like that's like cool. This is cool.
Yeah.
But when he says,
F this S.
Yeah. You're like,
lame that we don't say those cuss words.
I understand. But when he says that, I was like, I got his back. Because there's certain things like we were talking before the pod. Sorry to everybody out there, but we talk before we actually record it. And you can sit there and say, F this noise or F this S. And I was like, man, that guy's done.
Yeah, like when
There's
you're,
no doubt about it.
he's
And
like, I'm out.
TJ's like, come on. And TJ doesn't really goad him. TJ's like, you sure? And he's like, he gets him. He's like, you're going in. He's like, I don't care. Do it. I'm out, man. I can't get my legs to even go out there.
And he makes a good point because, there's the stars. And he's like, stars could mean something in the final.
Mhm.
So go in and win one.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at that. Then Beth. So here's the deal. I absolutely 110% will always give Darrell grace because he's a competitor.
Mhm.
I was surprised he didn't do it, but I'm like, I get it.
Sure.
Beth just gets there and is like, nope.
I thought my remote control was going through the TV. I'm like, why did they do it? Well, I was already annoyed that she's here, but why now at 20 minutes, like they're just going to, 20 minutes in or whatever else, it's going to happen. Like, I seriously was like, I didn't like her here from the beginning. Now I'm very, very annoyed with Beth.
She didn't, and granted, everybody shows like fear different ways. She didn't look that scared. Like Sylvia, you could see when she was wiping her tears, her hands were shaking.
I don't,
like, and granted, everybody shows things different ways, but it just didn't look like she was all that upset.
The one thing we have to take back,
other than her eyelash came off a little
when
bit.
she said, Beth's eyelashes with those camera that right there, not a good look. But we do have to take something out of it. She did say, I've had something with my family.
Right.
Else, so
lots of family health stuff.
What's going on. So
she's like, she's like, I don't have the capacity right now to conquer my bungee fear.
Oh, yeah, that's right. She did say bungee fear. I did raise an eyebrow. Like, that's the thing.
How awesome was Jordan when he came down? Like, he was like, like so excited. I just love how excited he gets.
You want to talk about Jordan and MJ's heat?
Yes.
Okay. Again, pay attention, listeners, watchers,
Oh,
followers. Foreshadowing upon foreshadowing upon foreshadowing. When they have Jordan saying, I outtrain all of these people, when I outdo all of these people, I do all this stuff daily, and they show him or whatever else, and then he loses. Foreshadowing. They will guide you through this episode. I'm telling you, we've talked about it over and over. They will guide you through the episode without you ever really having to pay much more attention than doing the dishes at the same time and listening to it while you're doing it.
And it's funny, and you're telling our viewers and listeners, but I'm terrible about it every time. Like when I watched it the first time today, like when I got to the elimination, I was like, well, there was a heck of a lot of Darrell. Didn't catch it.
I was so far over. I'm like, well, I know what's going on here. I was like, I know it. I know the.
I did catch like that there was a lot of Kendall, like probably the most screen time she's had.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that part I kind of like knew, like it was just, it's a comeuppance, but the whole thing, and then he lost to MJ. MJ had the minute time limit and he lost, and I'm like, MJ, it looked like he was just like boop boop. Like boop, Jordan's boop. In the arena. Jordan wins. I'm done. I'm good. I know what the men's thing's gonna be.
Really?
Again, foreshadowing upon foreshadowing. Pay attention. They will take you down that path faster than you think.
So the winners that go into the authority are Brad, Kayla, Mark, MJ, John A, and Veronica. Veronica was cute. That height definitely was a factor in this. Like she was on her little tippy toes. Like, yeah. Like that must have been. That's the part of it that would have frightened me. What would be like you have to like reach over while you're doing it.
Yeah, I can relate. I'm short. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
I got it. Yeah. Naya's 11 inches taller than her. That's what she said. She's like, I don't know if that's true. She's like, I'm effing short. I'm like, yeah, me too. I get you. Yeah.
You talk like you're like super. You're not that short.
I don't know. Some people would argue differently. Yeah.
Oh, let's see here. Yes was cute. He's like, I love math. I'd pay $100 to do this. Sounds like fun.
Yeah, I wouldn't pay $100 to do this, and he didn't win.
I know. I was surprised he didn't win.
I mean, I like the idea of you, me, Klinger, and a fourth person doing an escape room, but I wouldn't pay $100 for it.
I loathe escape rooms.
But I wouldn't pay $100 for it. I'm like, that sounds like a good time. I wouldn't walk away and be like, the worst. But I wouldn't be like, can you put me 150 stories up and do a math problem? And can I pay $100 for it? I mean, is that the going rate for a bungee right now? What's the going rate?
I feel
for
like
a
it'd be
bungee?
much more than that.
If you're in Panama City on spring break, or I don't even know, is that where kids go anymore? 150 to bungee? That's absolutely ridiculous. I'm not doing that.
Because it's too much money?
It's too much money, yeah. To bungee jump?
You have a good job. That's not that much money.
No, I'm not paying $150 to bungee jump, and I'm not paying $100 to do a math problem 150 stories up either. So I'm fine. Yeah. Why would he say
I
that?
actually might. Like the nonsense I buy on Amazon, I might.
All right. Now maybe the producers of the challenge would be like, you could have a challenge experience. You could do this and that. Put it together. Like, actually, now I'm like, okay, we might pool our money together and like have a challenge experience weekend to do weird crap like this.
I'd pull the Sylvia. I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
And then you'd be like, F this S.
Yeah, and I definitely do the TJ. I'm like, you paid for this, and I don't like quitters, and like your bank account doesn't like quitters either. Actually, that's not a bad idea. The challenge experience for a weekend. Look into that. Bunham and Murray. Yeah.
Tina actually said on Mark's podcast, she did. So Mark does like a live podcast with this woman named Emily. She's a writer. She's great. And Tina had said, she's like, I think we should do a challenge where it's like OGs partnered up with a podcaster.
Okay.
And then I instantly was like, I gotta really go to the gym. Like if that was the case, like I would need like 3 months.
Yeah, I mean, do they have like that?
No,
I mean, I'm sure,
I mean, she was just joking, but I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Because is it supposed to be like, because then a podcaster can figure out how tough it is?
No, they were, she was talking about Emily and Mark, you know, how they're friends and she should try it, that kind of stuff. It was actually very positive.
Well, I'd do it. Yeah. Obviously I'd do it. But yeah, sign me up, Tina. I'm in. Yeah. Pod versus OG or whatever else. Yeah.
Pod, no, we'd have to work that out. So we get into the house. Obviously, Brad and Kayla are our winners.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hat trick, which was mentioned multiple times.
Oh, you know what we did? We didn't talk about like my comment about Kendall, what I didn't appreciate.
Oh, yeah.
When she lost, when she was just like, if I didn't get the sabotage, I could have won, and then I would have put the sabotage on Kayla, the same person. And to me, I'm like, you had the sabotage, you put it on MJ, she put it on you. Like, this is all circular. Like, you can't sit there and say, like, if I didn't have it, then I could have won and put it on the person who put it on me. Like, you put that target on your back. Like, that's a dumb thing to say. If I didn't have it, I would just, you don't know you would have gotten the math equation done right away. You don't.
Right. It's
You're
hypothetical.
Recklessly speculating. And then on top of it to be like, if I didn't have it, then I would have won. I could have put it on her. But yet still putting a target on your back, which you did by putting it on MJ.
True.
So now you're saying you would put it on Kayla and Sylvia would have had a target on your back. That is a dumb comment to say.
Right.
If I only did this and then this would have happened and then this would have happened. That's dumb.
Yeah. It's like, if you could go back. I feel like if she could go back, she probably would have sabotaged Kayla.
Yes. But you did it and you have to own it and you're game. But to be like, oh, if I only, then I would have, but to say like, I would have put it on the person who sabotaged me because I would have won, it's still like, then it's justifying why she put the sabotage on you. You're justifying it because you would have done it anyway.
True.
It's dumb. It really is dumb strategy. I'm sorry. It's not even a strategy. It's a dumb one-on-one confessional to be like, well, I would have put it on her because I would have won and she shouldn't have put it on me. But you were saying you would have put it on her anyway. So
yeah,
she did the right
it's
call.
like, it's just not a good,
yeah. So
explanation.
I can't wait to fast forward to who lost this episode. I think we just highlighted it with a big yellow marker.
Beth walks into the house. She's trying to figure out a room. She's getting a tour.
Yeah, Kendall's like, no, you don't want to be in the treehouse.
She tries to go in the treehouse. She's like, okay, what room or what beds are available here? And you see what I love, and we haven't talked much about Ronnie. She's fantastic. Mm-hmm. And you see Ronnie to Derek, and she's like,
yeah.
She's like shaking her head no.
It was great nonverbal. I loved it. Love the nonverbal.
And then Derek's trying to like talk about how like, oh, top bunk, you don't want this top bunk. Like you have to jump down. And Kayla and Sylvia are laughing. It's like, sad. It kind of makes me a little bit sad because it's like you don't want anyone to be like, no one wants
Why
you here.
is Beth,
No one wants you here.
who is probably
Like in that room.
what? I don't care what age. Forget about it. We don't talk about a woman's age. Why does Beth think she's Goldilocks? Like she's going to sit on the beds, lay on the beds, and be like, this one's a little too firm. This one's too soft. Like, why is she seriously laying down on a bed to figure out, just pick a bed and go there? Why is she just trying to, she's annoying them.
Yes.
Is what she's doing. And she's just annoying in general. And they're like, we don't want you here. And she's like, I know, but I'm going to lay on this bed and see if it's comfortable for me.
Right.
So
she ends up rooming with Darrell and Kendall, so now she's just going to be by herself.
Yeah.
Which is probably best.
Great room. I'd like to room that room.
Right?
Yeah. I like trios too. I have no problem with any of the people in any of the rooms. But I wouldn't lay on
Kendall
the bed.
was trying to kind of take her under her wing because she's like, it's another number.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah. And rightfully so. Good call by her.
Night out. You have, Darrell and Mark talking. Darrell's like, I don't care who you put me against. Like, whatever, which I love that. I love when they're not super scared of an elimination.
Yeah.
There's this extreme. Oh, first of all, Kellyanne found I think it's the same dog. I think they keep going to the same bar.
Yeah, they go to the same bar.
She was like giving it food. It was like,
one more thing about that bar. By the way, I think it's great. You're highlighting it and people can Google what bar. Bar owner, make sure when you know the MTV The Challenge coming that all the light bulbs are all working, because they did a thing like they're walking down and then they go up and they, the lights are strung and then there's two out in a row. And I'm like, hey, bar owner, fix your lights. MTV's coming. Like, just, it's 2 light bulbs. That's all. I don't know. I don't know if there's a Home Depot where you're at or if you can go on Amazon, but they did tell you ahead of time they're coming. Fix those 2 light bulbs. And I know it's a minor detail, but these are the things that will keep me up at night. So. Anyway, yes, I think it's the same dog. And Kellyanne keeps finding the same dog.
It's so cute.
Yeah.
Then there is this incredibly awkward interaction between Beth and Veronica.
Yeah, I said that there was a couple things that I wanted to talk about, and this is the one that I did not think walking into, but at the time I was like, this is the definition of the visual definition of frenemies, of not ever letting anything go. And now
I don't think the friend part of frenemy is even there.
They tried to be. I mean,
or
like we're gonna let it go
a little bit.
They did a side-by-side confessional. How often does that happen?
In the side-by-side confessional,
it didn't work.
They got in a disagreement.
It didn't work out at the bar, and it didn't work on side-by-side. So they're like, "Hey, we're together. We're putting bygones be gang."
And they couldn't. Yeah. Some
Again.
people just aren't meant to be friends, and just aren't going to see eye to eye. And I think Veronica is absolutely okay with that. I think Beth was really trying for it, and that was really uncomfortable.
They brought up stuff that is so old. Oh my God. I mean, like,
she's
what, 20 years?
Yeah, she said it's been almost 2 decades.
Yeah.
And, Beth is trying to talk to Veronica, like, you did things to hurt me. And she's like, I really don't think that, like, what I personally did anything to hurt you.
Really, Sarah, it starts with, we've grown. We're bigger people now. Like, yes, we have. It's like this, yes, we have. And thank goodness now we're together and we can mend everything.
And then it's like, but you hurt me.
It speeds up in a heartbeat. Like, well, you know what you said? You said I was drama. And I'm not the one that was in a threesome. Like, and they just keep going.
I loved that they replayed that.
And they did replay it. And they were just like, but I wasn't the
that
only
was
one
such an iconic moment.
And you're just like, this is not going well. Like, I can't believe they're even shoulder to shoulder right now
right.
in this room. And there's like, yeah, but and
she's like, I think one of them was like, and that's fine. Or all right, or something like that. And I'm like, ooh.
And their shoulders, and then at one point they're both kind of like looking at each other like this. I'm like, oh boy, this is not going.
This is not going to be like a West Bananas situation.
Yeah,
it's not.
These guys are not getting. These ladies are not getting along. So,
Authority meets. Brad is, let's think logically, not emotionally. They essentially decide that Jordan's going in, Kendall's going in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a good idea to make an attempt at a really strong player right now for the men.
don't want to run against a final against him. That's fine. Let's see if he can, if he can earn in there. If we can throw him in, it makes sense. The guys right now doesn't seem like he holds anything against them when if he wins or whatever else. If his name's mentioned, he doesn't say like, I'm coming after you. He just, there's been times where Jordan's like, you mentioned me, I'm coming later. Now he's just like, I want to be in. So
I know he was just like, all right, it's cool. It's fine.
And the Kendall one, like, it made sense. I mean, MJ was there.
Obvious. Yeah.
It was going to happen. So, no problem.
I think if they knew what the elimination was, they would have taken a bigger shot. Because I think Kellyanne is a stronger competitor than Kendall because Kellyanne has more gameplay.
I wouldn't.
No?
I think it was fine. I just don't. The elimination, you can't sit there and say like Beth would have done that to Kellyanne. I just don't think you can.
Yeah.
I don't. It just, who it was is who it was, and it worked out this one worked out at the right time. Yeah.
I did like how sweet Naya was like hugging Jordan. And Yes is like, look how far you guys have come.
Yeah.
And she said, what I loved is she said, 50% of my fuel in challenges is, trying to, make him proud of me. And I love that.
It's nice. Yeah.
I love that.
Might have been a time when I was maybe taking a nap during this episode.
Oh,
yeah. So anyway.
We get to the arena. TJ in the buffalo plaid, black and white. Get out of here.
I was not sleeping during this. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And there's something about when men like roll up their sleeves, like in a button-up shirt to about like their, that's a good look. And TJ was.
I've been rocking that since like 1986, about the time when Michael J. Fox was doing it as Alex P.
And I mean, that's probably,
yeah.
It's our generation.
Yeah.
It's a good look.
You got to do it. Yeah,
it's good,
especially at a wedding when you're dancing.
Oh my gosh, yes.
You don't do the
tie on the head. That's dumb.
But roll it up and just dance. Get after it. Yeah. Anyway,
this is an interesting elimination. It's called Steamroller.
I like this one.
So they're placed in a steel barrel. You push opposite direction of your opponent, and just you try to get to your platform or your line.
Sure.
Women go first, so it's Beth and Kendall. Beth wins. It doesn't seem like it's that difficult.
Well, Kendall moves it her way a little bit, and then Beth finally figures it out. That's annoying in itself. Like, to watch
I just wanted her to go home.
Figure out anything, and then be like, oh, I figured it out. And then she does it. And
but maybe that does mean she wants to be there a little bit more than what we saw in this challenge, because that really freaking sucked. Because I just think about, like, was there somebody else, like, waiting?
Exactly. Think the same thing.
You know what I mean? That would have really gone for it.
Yeah, and I don't. It would be like if I really cared more about a different challenger than I did Kendall in this episode. Then I would have been like, God, that sucks, because I don't think she's going to be around for second episode. So, and that's the way last week. That's the way I felt about Cyrus. I'm like, MJ's not going to be around much longer,
right?
I just don't think, because I'm speculating because the injury. But that's the way I would be like, that sucks, because I don't think Beth's going to be around. But this one I was fine with, and she just performed her based on what they think is like what they had speculated, like body weight or whatever else. But maybe she's figured it out, and that's fine. Good for her. Yeah. Kendall lost,
and that sucked.
Did it?
Jordan and Darrell. Yeah, I mean, I will take Kendall 100 times over I will take Beth.
All right.
Jordan and Darrell, this was a battle.
Yeah.
The last I tracked, the timer was like 36 minutes?
53 minutes.
53 minutes.
The very last one that they ever gave was 53 minutes. Yeah. They were doing that. And then
Derek calls it the heavyweight match of All-Stars history.
Did Derek. I mean, listen, love you, Derek. You got a nice podcast, everything else, but you kind of overdo it a little bit.
I kind of like it.
Yeah. But again, Jordan comes in there and he's like, I don't have it on me. How much you weigh? Darrell's like 160.
Oh, I love that he was like joking with him. He's like, what do you weigh? He's like
I'm just
150.
Gonna annoy him. I'm going to keep talking to him.
How many cookies did you have?
I wish I could have got that cookie experience. And
knocking. He's like, knock, knock.
Yeah. But he's like, I'm not going to go anywhere. But
he says, he's like, I will I'm just going to keep doing this until he quits.
Here's the
because they say the man does.
No one can.
The man does like triathlons and stuff.
Yeah, and that's what Veronica says. He bikes 60 minutes.
Runs 20 miles,
runs for 60, bikes for 50, swims for 10
on a random Monday.
Yeah, on a Monday.
And I do believe that. I feel like that is what he would
go
just
back to the foreshadowing. Nobody works harder than I do, ever. It's not about like the math equation. No one works harder. So he outlasts him, and Darrell's like, my calves are done, and my quads are done. Done. I mean, to the point he bails out of there. It's not like he gets rolled and rolled and rolled. He's just like, I have to bail out of here, and that's it. So,
love Darrell.
Yeah,
hate to see him go home this early, ever. Happy Jordan won though. Like it sucks. It's like I'm sad and happy.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. Honestly, like he comes back, he gets a star, he's proven his worth, but it's not going to be the last time. And the thing is, if he continues this, good for him. I think I'm going to like him a little bit more because I think he's just going to be like, yeah, keep putting me in.
He
drives off of this stuff.
He has been kind of in my opinion like Mr. Congeniality this season, in comparison to some other seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Just seems to be very like cordial, respectful, great attitude.
Yeah. It's like
I love it.
It's like, Ronnie, nice hat, like it, good job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, legit,
Moves on.
Mr. Congeniality.
Yeah. Hey MJ, it's a great tank top. Where'd you get that? Old Navy? Oh, I got to make sure to put that in my cart. He really does seem like he just goes about his business.
He was grilling everybody's food, all that stuff on the grill.
Yeah, that's great. I do, and there's times where I'm like, that guy can be kind of a prick, but now he's good, and good for him that he won that. And again, pay attention to foreshadowing.
Absolutely.
And then
okay, there's one thing I have to say before we really get into it.
Sure.
This is episode 4.
Yeah.
I believe there have now been 3 old jokes by Kayla. There was first I hope the women had their readers.
Yep.
Then last week it was 70s party. Let's ask Mark or my parents about what the 70s were like. And then this week it was I was born in 1992 and Beth was on at that time. I like you. You're a good competitor. But let's cool it on the old jokes, because here's the deal. The people that are watching this are millennials and Gen X for the most part. So you're just insulting the viewers.
Yeah.
I feel like.
This is coming
and she's not going to see this because she's filming 38 right now.
Well, I'm just telling you, this is coming from a tried and true ageist. Which is the thirdest in America, ageism is. So, yeah, you're actually right.
I was cool on
we
1.
About
2, I was like, all right. The third one, I'm like, we're done here with these jokes.
When we talked about the preview episode, and I was like, this is why this works. They brought in the people that really want to watch the show. It's not going to connect anymore with a younger crowd. And you're right. That's a really, really good point. It's the people that grew up watching it. Dialed back a little bit. I didn't.
They're probably asking her,
like, when it was, and that would have been, I think, 93, 94 when Beth was on The Real World. I didn't take it like that, but that's a really good point, Sarah. That I'm like, yeah. Now thinking about hey, let's calm down. Yeah, don't do that. But all right. Well,
in the preview,
you don't tug on Superman's cape.
Okay.
You don't spit in the wind.
Okay.
And you do not ever accuse somebody else of cheating on their spouse with somebody in the same room that they are. That's it.
That's the third one.
Well, some people say you don't mess around with Jim, but because it's a song. But but that's it. You don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't spit in the wind. Oh, I'm sorry. You don't pull the mask off the old Lone Ranger. And you do not accuse somebody without 100%, that is a fact, of sleeping with someone else who's also in the same room and cheating on their husband. And when that happened, I was like, huh?
Oh, I got so mad.
And she's like, I hear my name. And I was like, your name? When's next Wednesday? When is next Wednesday? And I know everyone's like, oh, it's next Wednesday. I'm like, no. Now. Right now. Right now. Beth needs the ass whooping. She needs the verbal ass whooping, the physical one, everything else. Are you going to spill any tea? Is this?
I have. So here's the deal. When we talked about this, I kind of slightly touched on it in our preview episode where I was like, they potentially saw each other. You know, there was a separation, divorce is what I thought it was at that time. And then I found some things out and I'm like, this is personal stuff and I don't think we need to talk about it. That's how I felt. But now that this is coming out there, I kind of feel like I need to like stand up for them.
Sure.
So, and this is all alleged via like social media.
Mm-hmm.
Allegedly, Jonna and her husband were separated for a period of time. That was around this time. They have now reconciled. He was at a challenge event with her a couple of weeks ago. He's back you see pictures of him on our social media. So there was a period of time that they were separated from, again, social media, what I've seen. And I could be completely wrong. But whether or not they were, doing stuff in the challenge house, I don't know. But it seems that if there was any sort of feelings more than friendship, the rest of the cast was on board with like, we're being respectful because these people have children.
Yeah.
And they're not putting it out there.
Yeah.
And this chick comes in out of nowhere and just outs it, puts it on the camera, makes sure everyone's there. I am not down for that. And here's the deal. I don't know her background. I don't know Beth's background. Maybe her marriage, she had a marriage that failed because of infidelities or I don't know. But I don't like this. I don't like this at all. It makes me feel yucky. I kind of saw red when I saw that in the preview.
All I saw was, give me next week's episode. But I do feel like two things. Is there not going to be a follow through, like a big deal, or is this going to be a big deal? And that's the thing. Like, is it like we tune in and they're like, oh, and Beth's like, oh, I said this, but I heard it. And Johnny's like, yeah, I heard it before too. It didn't happen. And then she's like, it didn't happen. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true. It could be like a teaser, like whatever.
But the thing is like, producers, we're tuning in no matter what. This isn't like we need to watch it on MTV or anything like that in between ridiculousness or whatever else. Like,
right.
It's not appointment television. We're going to watch it.
Right.
So it better be, not better be, but I would, I guess it's almost like you're like, oh, the drama, but that's what the show should be. And there should be some of this in here.
Right. But I feel like there are levels, there are things that you don't, there are levels and things, boundaries that you don't cross. And I feel like this is a huge boundary.
But I just
I know. I'm just repeating basically what you're saying with different words. Paraphrase it.
Yeah. I guess no one wants to hear Jim Carochi, me do lyrics of that. But it is. Those are things you just don't do. And you don't sit there and say that and accuse someone without knowing it.
And she's saying it to Mark and Sylvia.
Yeah.
And then Johnny's like, I heard my name. So we'll see what happens with that. I hope she goes running with her tail between her legs.
Well, yeah. And that's, if you have a subpar episode like episode 4,
you give us a really good,
you have to do that to be like, you got to come back. If you're going to dial out and be like, all right, that was just not really that good. If you're the average fan, that's super like us.
Yeah.
Then you need to do something, be like, yeah, I got to come back. And don't get me wrong. To me, it's like, if I was sitting there and I'm like, in Streamline, I'm like, I'm definitely watching this episode right now. I'm
like, I might like set my alarm for like earlier that day so I can get up and watch it like before work, like before I like shower, get ready for work.
Not a bad idea.
Because I got to know.
Yeah. And that's honestly, that's what saved the episode for me. I did not think this was a good episode at all.
I was really hopeful because that challenge was freaking awesome. Elimination was good, but the stuff in between was meh.
Yeah. We've done that before.
We need a little bit more of that.
We've had that. You can go back to last season where we've been like, okay. But they do this. Again, I think
roller coaster.
Yeah, I think we're taking the listeners along for the ride. Like, they'll do this. They will give you the meh episode, and then they will deliver after that. And I going back to the last season when we did this, I think we predicted the next one, and we were like, oh, we were way off. But then the next one came through, and I check out on episodes, but I do remember us saying like, oh man, the next one's gonna be big, and then like, oh man, and then the next one, 2 episodes came later. But I think this one's so condensed,
right?
That it's it's gonna.
You
happen.
expect them all to be bangers because it's only 10 episodes, so it's like we're almost at the next week is the halfway point.
Beth, how old are you?
I think she's in her 50s.
I don't care.
Early 50s.
Have to start drama everywhere. Like, I understand that they cast you, but like, then get over it. Is this what you do at the soccer games or whatever else with the moms around? Like, oh, did you hear about Tommy? He didn't. Like, what? He didn't pass his physical, but they let him play anyway. Like, stop doing this stuff.
So Tina said on Mark's podcast that I don't think Beth was originally an alternate, but Beth like did not want to be with Tina, and they had to do like a conference call, and she wanted a apology from Tina, and Tina's like, I'm not going to apologize.
Who is she? Yeah, who is Beth?
And so I think that it just it worked perfect that she was hanging out as an alternate, and Tina happened to go home.
There's nothing wrong.
Slide her right in.
Beth.
Who won the episode?
Who won the episode? Good question.
TJ's buffalo plaid shirt.
TJ always wins every episode. I mean, that's the easy one. Who won the episode? We said great things about Jordan. I guess.
Let's give it to Jordan. Let's give it to Jordan.
Kendall lost the episode.
Kendall lost
by far.
Mm-hmm.
But Beth gave her a run for it.
Oh God.
Beth was like, hold on.
Beth might lose the season. God, we're just ragging on her. Like,
no,
maybe she's like great in real life.
I feel like you're going to apologize, and please don't. No, she's not good television. I'm sorry. Like, even Nehemiah's like, I have to stay away from her. Like, she's just not good television. I don't know what they're seeing in like, oh, the drama is going to be great or whatever else. She's not good television.
Mm-hmm.
That is not that is. Honestly, you can't convince me. If I had to bring in Johnny Bananas and like, is Beth good? He's like, no, she's not good television. Like, we get it. We understand. He'll sit there and say like, Wes and I we get along outside of here, but TV Wes and TV Bananas, we don't get along, but we both understand television.
Right.
She's just awful. And unfortunately, that's the way I believe she is in real life. And that's a problem. I just don't get it with her. That's
that like coworker that's just like really hard to be around, and then like you get like picked to like sit with them at like a meeting, and you're like,
she like laughs at her joke that's not funny, her own joke that's not funny, and you're like, it's uncomfortable. Like, like that just offended 3 people in the room. It's
right?
Like, oh, but yeah,
it was funny, right?
Yeah, I did it as a joke. I wasn't hurting anyone's feelings. Like, I don't really like you.
Cringeworthy moment.
Beth. No, I'm sorry. What would be the cringeworthy moment?
There was one. So during the challenge, Kayla's just putting numbers together and checking. And there was one that was like so not even close, but she was just asking Chuck for everything. And that was a little bit of a cringe for me because I'm like, girl.
Okay, so can we do this now? Because happy birthday, Kellyanne.
Oh, it's her birthday. Happy birthday, Kellyanne.
Who was nice enough to write on Twitter when we said, like, hey, she was talking out loud. And Jemmy was saying, like, hey, she's annoying me. And I said, like, yeah, that would annoy me too. But then now Kellyanne comes out and she's like, she's checking every time. Now you're kind of like, I'm like, wait, hold on, Kellyanne. You said on Twitter, on Final Alliance 1 on Twitter, you commented like, well, maybe, I may make comments or whatever else, but, if it changes the game, so be it. But she did say like...
She said it was smart.
Yeah, in the end, she was like, she's checking every time. And I was like, wait, and I'm checking her like, come on, Kellyanne, because I know what you wrote on Twitter. And she goes, which is smart. And I'm like, I got you. All right. I'm with you. As long as you stay even keel with everything you say, I got you, Kellyanne. So happy birthday to Kellyanne. You look good for 21 years old.
Happy birthday, Kellyanne.
Congratulations. You're now finally 21 years old. Yeah, you can have a drink.
Okay, with that joke.
No, that's not a joke. I'm dead serious.
Like that one restaurant in town that everybody's birthday they rate on the tables, happy 21st birthday.
Listen, I learned a long time ago, and this is the second time we're talking about, don't ask a woman's age. You just always say when they say it's your birthday, like, congratulations, you're 21 now. You look great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Best line.
F this S.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too. Honorable mention.
Are we not going to go with cringeworthy though, that Veronica and Beth, like, we're friends, but now all of a sudden
that was uncomfortable. That was extremely uncomfortable.
Sorry to digress.
You're right. That might take the cake over like, I'm just having my math problems be like super wrong.
But going back to the best quote, that's it for me because I so much was like, yep. And I know I
did like Wes saying hi to TJ. Hey, you sick F. I liked that.
But Darrell, I felt it. I'm like, yep, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good with him.
That is, it's true. It's like you say those 3 words, and you're like, okay, I got you.
Absolutely.
We're good here. Music was pretty good. They had, I'm Real. They had Britney Spears 3 when Wes and Nehemiah and Brad were going.
I missed that part.
1, 2, 3. I can't do it. It's all like whatever.
There was another one.
8675309.
That was
when the women.
And I was like, we're not in the 90s. We went back to the 80s. I questioned that one. I caught it, but I was like, yeah.
There were a couple others, but those were the ones I knew.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah, so that's where we're at on that episode. I do have a little bit of talk on Challenge 38.
Let's do it.
So it has been incredibly difficult to keep up to date on who's going to be there, who's not, because people keep dropping. But as of now, the people that we know that are going to be there are Bananas.
I know him.
Turbo.
I know him.
Freaking, I'm so excited to see Turbo back. Kayla's husband. Nelly, Nani, Josh, Casey's brother.
Yeah.
Fessy, Devin, Jay from Survivor, love Jay. Anissa, Laurel, Michelle from Survivor, Amber B, Nam, Tommy.
Where's Amber B's boyfriend at or whatever?
I think he's part of that too.
Okay.
Yeah, he is too. Tommy from Big Brother, who's going to be fun, I think. Annalise from Big Brother. And then there's like some influencers.
Yeah. Okay.
Which that's new. We haven't had like just straight up influencers before.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like what you just said.
Oh, and maybe Coriel.
Great, decent, barf, decent, good, great, barf, barf, great, decent, barf, great, good.
Well, I'm
And then there's
excited.
Tommy.
We'll see what happens. Time will tell. It's ride or die is the season, so they're with their ride or die. So like Casey's with her brother.
So who's with Bananas?
That is a tough call. Nani?
So it's gonna.
I would feel like
you're speculating that it's gonna be male, female. So who's with Tommy then? Who's the girl from Big
Annalise. Which people on the internet need to leave that woman alone.
Why? What did they do?
They just say awful things about her.
Oh, have I introduced you to the internet yet, or Twitter? It is a cesspool of nonsense.
Making fun of her name, like putting different things with her name about how she apparently I don't even want to do it. It's just gross.
So the people
they came out all of a sudden. Like my feed was just all about her.
I really need to know. So the people on the internet are mean.
Some of them are. The ones that talk about her are really mean.
That's it.
That poor woman.
You gonna be all right there?
It makes me sad.
So everybody else, they're nice to on the internet.
I just want us to all be happy.
Everybody else, they're like, it's great. But this poor Annalise, like the internet turned on her.
Because I haven't followed Big Brother in a couple of years. So my feed used to be all Big Brother, and I'd see all the things that people would say that would be really gross and mean and just so super trolly.
Yeah.
And so I haven't followed Big Brother in a while, so I haven't been I haven't had to see that.
Kudos to Tommy. I remember you. I've told you this. I've told the listeners everything else. I check out. I forget who you are. If you're not Derek from Big Brother 16, I don't know any better.
I love him.
Annalise, I have to go back and take a look at you.
She was beautiful, and she ended up for a while dating the guy that looked like Jason Momoa. That when he got kicked off, everyone accused him of being racist.
Who she is. Yeah.
Yeah,
I know who she is. Yeah. Oh yeah. She was I think she this is dumb, but I think she created swimsuits. Didn't she have her own line or whatever else down in Miami, or is that same season? Doesn't matter.
I don't think that was her.
Tommy's a dancer. He's great. He will be a favorite. He's
lots of
really
fun.
good. But we'll see. Bananas with Nani. I mean, come on.
I just can't think of who else here would be his ride or die. Devin? No. Josh? No.
But they're gonna have to do boy girl. So why wouldn't Nani and Josh be together?
Oh, and Anissa's got her bestie that's never been on, to my knowledge, never been on a TV show.
That's I mean, that's another 30 minutes of a different show. Why is she still doing this? Like, just be a
They keep
producer.
calling. She wants to do it. They call. She does it.
Well, stop calling. Anyway, okay. Yeah, but it's great. I mean, we're excited. Obviously, we have this, but we have this challenge to get through as well, and we have the next episode to get through as well. So, but yeah, it's right around the corner, which is awesome. And this is what we look forward to.
Ain't mad at that.
Yeah.
What else you got for me?
That's about it. Seriously, I listened to Derek on Bananas podcast. I have not listened to the latest Challenge Mania podcast or anything like that. But
Cyrus on Bananas was good. Check that one out.
Okay. Yeah, and I think they're doing a good job, like following up, like when people are getting, when they lose the arena and Bananas is, and no, I do look forward to this, and I'm happy for it, and I think episode 5 is going to be great because
yes, this is
10,
going to
right?
be. We're going to be at like
we're at halfway point, right?
Well, maybe not quite our mountain peak, but we're almost there. So like it really gearing up and getting really good because let's be real here. A lot of the people that are left. I mean, there are some outliers, but a lot of the people that are left are really freaking good.
Okay.
So we're going to get some really like good banger
Before
eliminations.
we sign off,
Okay.
I was thinking a lot about at the end of this episode because I didn't think it was a good episode, and I was trying to think more going forward, and with the authority.
Yes.
Do you think that maybe it will go down to instead of 3, like 3 men, 3 females, it'll be 2? And if you can't decide between the 2 who's going into the arena to face the lowest person on the totem pole, then the person who's number 2, do you want to hear me out? Okay, so let's say you win the challenge.
Okay,
right?
I won.
And then the second place, because now there's not a third place, because the numbers don't count. I mean, at this point, there can't be that. You can't have 6 people when there's only like 8 people left.
Right, right.
But do you understand? Do you think maybe they get rid of the third, and the 2 people have to decide?
Okay.
And so we're trying to decide who's going to go in, and you're loyal to someone I'm not, but I won the challenge. And TJ says, if you can't figure it out in 30 minutes, the person who was runner-up is going into the arena. And that way the person who's runner-up has to, in the end, succumb to the person who actually won it, their decision. That's what I think is a good idea.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what's going to happen.
It probably won't.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did go down to 2 and 2, like as it gets closer, because they just won't have the numbers.
But I just think that's a great idea to be like, the person be like, I had to, or else I was going in. Like, where you're basically at a stalemate, and they go, well, TJ goes, well, if they don't, you're the runner-up, you're going in. If you guys can't,
so you just have to go with what they want, or you're going in. Period.
Or you can be that person like I won, and in the end, it's my decision. You agree with it, or else you're the one going in.
Right.
Or we can just do this, talk it through, like adults or whatever else. I just think it's kind of interesting when you start to drop off from the authority if that happens. So
that'll be interesting. So at what point are the stars going to come in to become a factor? Do you think it's because I keep thinking it's the final, but what if it's it's because they did say in the preview there's a twist.
Yeah, and he did say in episode 1 after the stars, he's like, these are going to be a big deal.
So is it going to be like skulls where you have to have one to go into the final?
I think it's going to be more like
an advantage or an extra vote.
Yeah.
Maybe an extra vote.
Or like, wouldn't it be like so many minutes ahead at the beginning of the final? Like you get to start 5 minutes ahead of the next person or whatever else because you have 5 stars or 3 minutes or whatever else. That's what I think it will be.
Sort of.
The vote thing, because you can't sit there and say like, well, since you have 4 stars and you have 2,
you get 2 more votes. Or,
Yeah, so
I don't know. We'll see.
This isn't a 3/5 compromise, so I think it's more like you get a head start because of the stars that you have in the type of challenge thing. But you know what? That's why we watch this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
TJ keeps us on our toes.
It's his final.
It's his final.
This is my final. Absolutely. All right.
Well, follow us on Twitter, Final Alliance 1, on Instagram, Final Alliance on Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. We are Final Alliance Podcast. And did I say YouTube? On YouTube, we're Final Alliance Podcast. Mm-hmm. See you next week.
Absolutely. It's going to be a good one.
Hopefully, probably.
It will be.